What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, retired, legendary, iconic British superstar, former world champion, Hall of Famer, Chris Eubanks Sr. He absolutely goes in on Conor Benn. He goes in on Nigel Benn, who is his rival, okay? Chris Eubanks Sr., is a legend. His son, okay, so first, Chris Eubanks Sr., his son, Chris Eubanks Jr., former world champion, British superstar boxer, who has a record of 32 wins, 2 losses, no draw, 23 wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'11" with a 72-inch arm reach. He was scheduled to go into a highly anticipated rivalry showdown, family showdown, with Chris Eubanks Sr.'s biggest rival in Nigel Benn, Nigel Benn's son, an undefeated welterweight superstar title contender, British boxer, in Conor Benn. Conor Benn, 21 wins, no losses, no draw, 14 wins by way of knockout, 26 years of age, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach, okay? And we know the fight was scheduled to take place yesterday in the UK, and it didn't come to fruition because Conor Benn tested positive for a banned substance, okay? Many people are even calling for Conor Benn to be banned from the sport of boxing. This fight was supposed to be at a catchweight, okay? Now, Chris Eubanks Sr., he finished his career 45 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, 23 wins by way of knockout. He himself was knocked out. He stood at 5'10" with a 73-inch arm reach, okay? He lost his last 3 fights, but nonetheless, he's a legend and a Hall of Famer, okay? And he fought Nigel Benn a few times, okay? First fight, one fight ended in a draw, one fight ended in a victory, for Chris Eubanks Sr., okay? And huge rivalry in the UK. And Nigel Benn, he finished his career 42 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 35 big wins by way of knockout. 4 times he was knocked out, 5'9.5" with a 73-inch arm reach, okay? So their sons were scheduled to face off against one another. And Conor Benn tested positive for a banned substance, okay? The fight was postponed, but you had Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn. You had Conor Benn. Many people complaining and stating that, essentially, they had, made a mistake, okay? And clomiphene is the substance that apparently, Conor Benn had took and was in his system, okay, which is can be used as a cleanser for a fighter who's just coming off of a cycle, or it can be used as a testosterone booster, okay, but it's supposed to be for women that struggle with fertility, okay, and it helps boost the male in that position as well, help boost his fertility, help them to increase his, their ability to reproduce. So, okay, so it is a booster for testosterone in men, though, but it's predominantly prescribed to women to help them to reproduce, okay? And so this is what was in his system. This is what was in Conor Benn's system, and this is a huge problem, right? Because obviously he can use the excuse that he didn't know what it was in his system, or he can say he was just using it to reproduce solely, okay? But nonetheless, it was in his system. Now, this fight was supposed to take place at a catchweight, seeing as though Chris Eubanks Jr. is champion at 168, and he's a 160-pound title contender, okay? And Conor Benn is a 147-pounder who was moving up. So this was a catchweight at 157 for this fight to take place, okay? So Conor Benn was moving up 10 pounds. Chris Eubanks was moving down 3 pounds, okay? And Chris Eubanks Sr., he feels like the fact that Eddie Hearn tried to fight it. Eddie Hearn even went as far as to say that they were going to look for and search out a new boxing commission because UKAD, United Kingdom Anti-Doping Agency, they didn't find any adverse traces in Conor Benn, but VADA, okay, VADA found, adverse traces in his testing. And so VADA was made this aware to, the British Boxing Board, okay, and the British Boxing Board, the BBBC, the British Boxing Board of Commission, they decided that they wasn't going to push forward, seeing as though VADA, Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency, who looks deeper into all substances, and they do very, very thorough testing, they look deeper into it, okay? And so because of that, they found adverse traces for Conor Benn. And Chris Eubanks Sr., just ironic, because just the day before this happened and we got the findings, Chris Eubanks Sr. was calling for a boycott of this fight. And Chris Eubanks Sr., he was saying that, you know, he didn't like the fact that his son is 33. He fought at 168 and 160, and trying to get down to a catchweight at 157 is just not healthy for him, seeing as though he have to drain fluid off his brain. And, you know, just being older, he could get hit, and then, you know, that could be a serious problem for him, right? And so Chris Eubanks Sr., he was stating that, you know, he wanted the media, the fans, and the boxing pundits to call for a boycott of this fight. And so, you know, then the very next day we have this. But listen to what Chris Eubanks Sr. had to say regarding this failed test, and the fact that Eddie Hearn went as far as to say that he was going to look for a different boxing commission. Again, the BBC, the initial boxing commission, they stated that they didn't want any parts of this fight, okay? They were pulling out. They were not going to sanction this fight, this bout, okay? And Eddie Hearn stated that they was going to look for a different commission that would approve of this fight to take place, okay? Because they walked away from it. And he stated that if Conor Benn's not being suspended, that's a serious problem, and that Conor Benn should be allowed to fight. But and he also stated that he knew, that being Chris Eubanks Sr., he knew and he was aware of the amount of traces that was in the system of Conor Benn, and he was okay with it, okay? And Chris Eubanks Sr., man, he's simply not happy. And shout out to Tunde, and shout out to brother Spencer Fearon. They hosted and they held an interview with Chris Eubanks Sr., and he was not happy at all. He went as far as to feel like that Eddie Hearn and everybody involved was trying to set up his son, allegedly, okay? And he's simply not happy. Emotional Chris Eubanks Sr., you know, he goes in to the point where Tunde breaks out in tears, and Spencer Fearon, you can see the hurt in his face, just for the fact that not just that, you know, they're close, they have a relationship with Chris Eubanks Sr., but the words that he used to describe how he felt and what he felt was taking place, and how he described, you know, the boxing commission and the managers and the promoters and everybody involved. He just felt like they were just very, very irresponsible with this fight, and that something could have went seriously left, and his son could have been seriously harmed in this situation. Listen to what Chris Eubanks Sr. had to say.
Poor managers and promoters, these guys, I'm coming for you. Yeah, you tried to murder my boys. I'm coming for you. Yeah. Right, sorry, Spencer, I got a little bit carried away.
Don't worry about that. Thank you so much. I just speaking right, Chris, I just speaking right now. Tunde's wiping tears from his eyes.
Another man's son. I know what weight. I know what 3 pounds beneath 160 when you're 33 years old. When you're 33 years old, to get down to 3 pounds beneath that middleweight limit is madness. But he won't listen. But you have toddlers looking after us fighters, toddlers. These guys, they call managers. These guys, I'm coming for you.
So you can hear Chris Eubanks Sr. right there.